What's up everybody, my name is Don, and this is a very special occasion indeed. We recently hit 100 subscribers on YouTube, and so, to celebrate this joyous occasion, I thought I'd play some Contra. Because everybody loves Contra, am I right? Oh, wait a minute, I see this one person in the back of the crowd that's saying this game is too hard. I see you! This game is not that hard. It's actually not hard at all. It just requires 100% of your concentration. For one thing, this game gives you free men out the ass. You get an extra life every 10,000 points or so, so if you're playing well, you should be able to get 9 lives through to the end of the game. And I won't be using the spread shot at all for this run. I'm gonna stick solely to the machine gun. Contra on the NES is one of those strange cases where the game was changed from Japanese to American. And no, it wasn't because of censorship. They changed the story, and by change the story, I mean there's no story at all in the American version. You just play as a guy running through the forest and shooting everybody down in the American version. In the Japanese version, there's a bit more to it, but not by much, honestly. So here we are playing the Japanese version of Contra, which will look the same for the time being, but stay tuned, there's gonna be more developments. Alright, I already picked up the machine gun as well as the rapid fire, so I'm good for the moment. The machine gun is a good weapon because you don't have to tap the button repeatedly, you just hold it down and it will keep firing. But it also comes at the expense of it's not going to cover that much screen real estate because it only fires straight ahead of you, or any of the 8 cardinal directions you choose to fire at. This is where the flame shot and the spread shot shine because they cover more screen space. However, the flame shot sucks. So just go with the spread shot. And you also have the laser shot, which is kind of an underrated weapon in my opinion. It is stupidly overpowered. But just like the machine gun, it doesn't cover that much screen space. The laser works better in the corridor levels for taking down those turrets. Here's the first major difference between the Japanese and the American version. There's a summer breeze on the trees right here, and I don't know why they cut that out for the American version. Maybe it was a time constraint, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think that was the case. I think that was just Konami being lazy. I mean, come on. The Nintendo Entertainment System was the same system that had Journey to Silius, Batman Return of the Joker, Batman, the video game. Those were really good looking games. And coincidentally, all those good looking games were from Sunsoft, so whoops. Now here are the base levels, which I call corridors. They can be pretty tough, but you just gotta know when to duck. These levels were pretty ingenious at the time, but I don't know if they hold up as much anymore because you move up and the screen just scrolls frame by frame. It's really off-putting. I would say that the top-down portions from Super Contra were better implemented in that game than the pseudo 3D portions in this game, honestly. And by Super Contra, I mean Super C on the NES, not Contra 3, or the arcade game. I've always called Super C on the NES Super Contra anyway, because why would you take the Contra out of Super Contra? That just seems bizarre to me. And yes, I know there was the Iranian scandal back in the day, but you named the first game Contra, why not just keep the consistency? What I usually do for these corridor levels is I pick off the turrets first and then I go for those fuck me cores right there. And speaking of fuck me cores, that's what we have to do for this boss too. I recommend you take out the turrets first, because if you take out the cores first and the boss comes out, you have to deal with extra gunfire. And that's not good. I also like the boss music here too. It's only used twice in the game, but it's really, really good. They would reuse this tune later on in Contra 4, really good game for the DS, And Contra Road Core. Ew, ew, ew. Ooh, Contra Road Core. Ew, that's gross. Oh, looks like the fireworks are out tonight. No, not just in the game because I exploded the boss. I'm talking about outside. I am recording this on 4th of July. Now here's the level that ends many of friendships, the Waterfall. There's Castlevania syndrome here, so if a platformer's off screen, it might as well not even be there at all. This stage also introduced the runner type enemies that actually shoot at you, so be careful with them, because they'll just take a pot shot, and you might not even notice until it's too late. Another good song for this stage. I really like the soundtrack to this game, even though it sounds kind of vanilla compared to the other Contra games, but it's still a good listen. I still think Contra 3 has the best soundtrack in the whole entire series. That end credit sequence, that is the sound of triumph. I just picked up an invincibility, that's why I'm flashing orange and blue. Whenever you see a B icon, be sure to pick it up, because that stands for barrier. You have at least 30 seconds of invulnerability, so be sure to take advantage of that. In each future game, the invulnerability period becomes lower and lower. Until like Contra 3, where you only become invincible for like 5 seconds, okay? Go as far as you can with the barrier. Bah, bah, bah. That's what happens when you get invincibility in Contra 3. Or at least that's my experience with Contra 3, because whenever I play Contra 3, I just go. I just gun it, and that usually gets me into a lot more trouble than it's worth. It was probably because I played hardcore more on the Sega Genesis, and that's an extremely fast game, but you can get used to the speed. Contra 3, I can't really get used to that speed, so yeah. And here's the second side-scrolling boss of the game. Oh my god, there are aliens in this game? No! I never understood why some people, not everybody, why some people are so shocked about aliens being in this game. It makes sense, because this day coming out around the time where Predator and Aliens, they were the two hottest things on Earth. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there was an alien right smack dab on the box art telling you, hey, numbnuts, you're gonna have to shoot some aliens in the face at some point. Get ready. But yeah, I think this was people thinking this was just a military shooter where you're fighting ordinary soldiers, but we have Call of Duty for that. And I'm pretty sure there were other military shooters at the time that had just solely human opponents. Is it lightning outside too? What the fuck? Fireworks and lightning? That doesn't mix. The glowing red fuck me cores now have shielding over them, so you gotta shoot the shielding off in order to get to the cores. And it's, actually the lightning's getting worse, holy shit. I feel bad for the guys that were outside doing the fireworks. So I may have to take a rain check. Literally. And I'm back. I'm recording this in the morning time, which may be a couple of hours before you get this video. But as I was saying before, this corridor level is the longest area in the game. You got multiple enemies trying to kill you with these log things and the Molotov cocktails. Ooh, another rabbit. And you also got the shielding on the cores. And I counted the rooms in this place. There are 8 rooms total before you reach the final boss of this area. Try not to touch the electrical gates, as tempting as that may be, you'll get stunned for a moment, which will give the enemies ample time to shoot you in the face. Alright, here's the final room, which they should have done a better job of defending. I mean, I'm just one guy with a dinky-ass machine gun. Like, what are they doing? In terms of difficulty, the Japanese and the American versions are one of the same. They both get harder the more you play into the game, and there are multiple loops of the game, in which case, the game just gets faster and faster and faster. If you play Contra up to 8 times in a row, that's hard. You get enemies that come out every millisecond. Alright, this boss is kinda tricky if you don't have the spread shot, but you can still take him on without it. This machine will shoot out radioactive bubbles that will home in on you. You can clear out these bubbles by just blasting them. There are 2 components to this thing, with 4 sprites total coming together. Once these sprites collide, that's your opportunity to shoot this machine. These radioactive bubbles make a return in Super C's Area 4, and they spawn in midair in that game. Snowfield. Here's another graphical difference between the Famicom and the NES version. It's actually snowing. And there's a breeze effect again. I wish it was snowing. There is no wind effect in this stage, so it looks like the snow can push you back, but in reality it doesn't. Here's the part of the game where everything becomes trickier. You got grenades and turrets and soldiers and shit. So, you gotta keep your head on a swivel. Another rapid. Now, the rapid fire only upgrades your gun once, so picking it up again doesn't do anything. The rapid option will speed up every gun you have except for the laser, because the laser by nature is just that slow. That seizure-tastic screen flash I just picked up was the bomb. It only makes one appearance in this game, but it will make multiple appearances in Super C. It's a screen nuke, and it's not really that useful considering you only pick it up once, and the area you collect it in is in an area where there's little to no enemies. Here's the tank right here, which will give you a jump scare if you're shooting it with your pea shooter because you have to button mash like crazy, but with the spread shot, you still have to button mash, but it kills the tank really quickly because of the spread shot, and it's just that damn awesome. Or the machine gun because you don't have to button mash at all. The laser works too. There's another tank coming up. Just stick to the very left of the screen and you should be fine. I like how they designed the tanks in this game. It was seriously supposed to be a snowplow, but the custodian was like, I wonder what would happen if we put spikes on the front. And then the captain overheard it and was like, you deserve a promotion. I'm gonna put spikes on the tank right now. Jason, why haven't you put spikes on your tank? I'm almost ashamed of you. I can't even call myself a fan of you anymore. There's a lot of stop and go in this part right here. Watch out for those grenades, they will kill you. Just like everything else in this game. Or those pipe bombs, they don't really have the distinctive grenade shape. Unless if they're futuristic 2631 grenades, then now we're talking. Oh yeah, spoiler alert, Contra takes place in the future. That's another difference between Japanese and American Contra, if you have the instruction manual. And even if you don't, there's always wiki. American Contra, up until Contra 3, takes place in the modern day. Or the modern day as in 1987, because this game is 34 years old. And Contra in Japan takes place in the far future. The characters are also named differently too, but that doesn't really matter because they're just going to be the same characters anyway. In Japan, you're playing as Bill Reiser, but in America, you're playing as Mad Dog. The second player is named Lance Bean in Japan, and his name in America is Scorpion. No, not that scorpion. Favorite song in the game, as well as my favorite level too. I really love the energy zone here. There are a ton of flamethrowers on the walls. You have to duck just in time in order to not get killed. This seems like one hell of a safety hazard. I mean, these guys have to wear these fireproof suits and they chafe. It's 200 degrees in here. Their weapons melt and so they just have to run at you. Just everything is all wrong here. That's what would happen in reality land, but this is a video game. Here's one of the trickier parts in the game. You have to jump up and then time your jumps well so you can duck in time and not get flamed in the face. There's an invincibility barrier down there, but it's more of a nuisance to get, so I'm just gonna avoid it for now. There is a way to get that barrier seamlessly, but I personally don't think it's worth it. Be careful with this next part. The flamethrowers die down, but there will be guys with turrets. Or guys on turrets, not with turrets. I just destroyed them all because, well, I can, and they're in my way. And therefore, they need to die. Here's the stage 6 boss, which could be a robot or a giant mutant. I don't know what he is. When he walks towards you, you can just jump over him. Good thing about the jump in this game is that it's super floaty. The giant person will also throw out these destructo disc flying saucer things. I don't know what they are. You jump over those. He'll throw out 1 to 3 depending on what he feels like. If he throws out 3, just jump over the first 2, get to the ground, and then quickly jump over the third one before it hits you. I don't understand why they took out the Ghost and Goblin style scene transition from the American version. It's literally just one screen. And it's kind of styled like Ghost and Goblins, that's what I like about it. The hangar level is the hardest level in the game because you got these claw things that come from the ceilings, and you have to time your movements correctly if you want to live. And you also got these surprise walls that pop up right next to you. Take your time when going through this stage. I also like that it reuses Stage 1's theme. It makes you think this is the final area of the game, but nope. This is not the final area. There are also minecarts, which will kill your character if they hit you from the side, so be sure to jump on top of them. And the also glorious runner type enemy. Did that guy just randomly explode? The runner type enemies can now shoot while prone, so if you see them lay down on the ground, that's like a split-second frame of animation, jump. Oh, the barrier, my best friend. You can run through everything in this stage. Just be careful on your time limit. Once you stop blinking, you're vulnerable again. Making this jump is tricky, but you really want to make the top path and not the bottom path. because those claws are very random. With this being one of my favorite games of all time, I usually play Contra like 5 times a year. I don't know. And I played this game differently each time. Sometimes I use the spread shot and just blast through the game. Other times I use the standard pea shooter. And sometimes I use the flamethrower because it sucks. They would improve the flame weapon in future Contra games. In Super C, it's a fireball and it's awesome. And in Contra 3, it's a traditional flamethrower and it's just as good. And here's the stage 1 boss again. No, I'm kidding, but it's a similar concept. You shoot at the door enough times and everything will explode. Alright, final stage. The enemies change from humans to aliens. Or who knows, maybe the humans were aliens this whole entire time. No, I wouldn't expect a Contra game to pull a twist like that. Unless it was Shattered Soldier or something. But we're still fighting aliens, that's the point. I'm invincible, you stand no chance against my flashing blue and orange pants. Now my pants are blue again. Oh, I'm fucked. This design for the enemy right here is quite clearly a xenomorph from the Alien franchise. Sigourney Weaver's very best. Hey. I love Sigourney Weaver. She's awesome in just about every movie she's in, including Alien Resurrection, which she carried that whole entire movie by herself because Alien Resurrection was shit. Sigourney Weaver was also in Ghostbusters, one of my all-time favorite films, and even if she wasn't in Ghostbusters, that will still be an A+ comedy because everybody in that film is awesome. But enough about Sigourney Weaver and Ghostbusters, more on Contra, the Alien Wars. No, not the Alien Wars, just regular old Contra on the NES. I make a slip up here and I die. I pay for it with my life. It's coming up right here. It is the stupidest way for me to die, and I was doing so well because I haven't died anywhere else in the game, so... Yep, here it goes. I died to a fucking pit. There goes my one life clear of Contra. Now I'll never be a gaming champ. Oh well, it doesn't matter. We're at the end of the game anyway. Alright, the final boss of the game is Red Falcon's Heart, and it's pretty easy, all things considered. What you want to do is shoot the spawn points for the alien facehuggers. Without those, the heart will be defenseless. And that's basically the strategy for this guy, there's nothing else to it. Unless you have the spread shot, in which case you can just destroy everything because it's the spread shot and it's the best weapon, or at least the most broken weapon in all video game history, right next to the metal blades and the wave weapon from Blaster Master Zero. So that was Contra on the NES, a fantastic game that I did play before on the channel. I just wanted to play again because it's Contra. And I also wanted to thank you guys for getting my channel to 100 subscribers. I never would have thought that I would be that funny or informative enough to actually make it to this point. So, thank you guys. Thank you very much. Now, for my next LP, well, my next LP was my previous LP. I'm gonna get back on some Last of Us 2. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a beefer. All 32 parts of it. See you then.